Welcome, everybody, to Inside Boxing Weekly on the Grueling Truth Radio Network. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. We have a special show today. We have what I think is the best lightweight in the world, WBC World Lightweight Champion Mikey Garcia. Let's welcome Mikey to the show. How you doing?
Doing good. Thank you. Pleasure being on the show. Always fun.
All right. Now, to me, the most interesting thing about you and your career is just your family, your relationship with your father, the rest of your family. You want to tell us what it was like for you growing up in Oxnard, California?
Well, I remember probably when I was maybe like 4, 5, 6 years old, sometime in there. The oldest memories, my dad and my mom coming home from working the strawberry fields and covered in the mud and red stains from the strawberries, and then heading out to the gym with my dad and my brother Robert at the time, and Danny, my oldest brother, and I'd be, hanging out at the gym, and Vargas was also there, a young kid with my brother Robert training, and a bunch of other kids there. Weekends, we would watch a lot of boxing on the weekends. My dad would always do a barbecue and invite friends and family. My cousins would come over, and we'd watch all the fights at our house. It was fun. It was just lifestyle, revolving around boxing. Most every dinner conversation always was about boxing, our opinions on fighters and stuff like that. But I never thought I'd be fighting. I never thought I'd be a boxer until I was about 14 years old that I actually started to get into boxing. Before that, I never really wanted to do it. And
so what got you into boxing? Because I heard that when you used to go to the gym that you would just go to hang out. You weren't really going to work out. What really put you over the hump to get you started boxing?
Oh, well, it was my nephew started. My younger nephew, he's only a couple years younger than me. At the time, I think he was maybe 10, 11 years old, and we went to go see him compete in an amateur show. And one of the gym's kids didn't have an opponent, and my brother signed me up. Now, I was 13 at the time, and I was not training, but we always learned some boxing, being at home around boxing and gym and stuff, so we learned a little bit. But I was not training at the time. But my brother signed me up, and we had this exhibition sparring match with that kid that didn't have an opponent. And that was the day that I started to kind of, I liked it. I liked the competition. I liked the one-on-one, and after that, I decided to go ahead and actually, start learning and training at the gym. And a few months later, I had my first amateur show.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about your father, your relationship with him. You talked about him and your mom working in the strawberry fields for 12 hours a day. That had to have a positive effect, work ethic-wise, just to see what they put in for you to be able to do what you were doing. You want to talk a little bit about your relationship with your father?
Well, we have a very good relationship. My dad and my mom, I would, like I said, I would come home from school, and a couple of maybe hours later, I'd see them come home from work. And so, we grew up, and seeing hard work, will eventually pay off. And they always did everything for me and my brothers to make sure that we had, food on the table, that we had, clothes, that we had everything necessary, as a kid, So, we as a family are very, very close. We really like to hang around with each other a lot. My dad, we see each other every day at the gym, and even not at the gym, he'll come home and visit me, or I'll go over to his house and just visit him out there. So we have a very good relationship. I learned, to be humble, to be, hardworking, to always, strive for the best and do the best that you can in anything that you're doing. My dad at the time was working strawberry fields and then taking care of the boxing gym. But he had a goal that one day he would be, making professional boxers and then making world champions. And he envisioned that, and he worked hard, and he was able to accomplish that, and that's what we learned from all those experiences.
Yeah, and you had a brother who was a champion while you were growing up, too. How did he influence you? Were you guys like normal brothers, always fighting, or what kind of relationship did you have with him?
Well, he's older than me by, I think, 12 years, so he was actually picking on me most of the time.
Yeah, not much fighting when there's 12 years in between. I screwed up. I told my wife that we should have our kids at least 6 years apart, and we decided not to, and they're like 2 years apart, and all they do is fight like cats and dogs. So.
Yeah, well, I'm the youngest in the family. You know, it's 7 of us total. I'm the youngest, but by, many years. My sister, Jackie, she's 11 years older than me, and then Robert, I think, is 12 or 13 years older than me. So there was not a whole lot of fighting, but a lot of picking on me. I remember that. But it's all fun and games, nothing major, nothing crazy. But he was world champion when I was about 10, 11, 12 years old, and I remember at school, he'd come over and visit the schools, and say hi to the kids, and everybody at school, my friends knew that he was a boxer, and they'd seen him on TV, so it was always cool. They'd ask me for pictures and autographs and stuff like that.
Now, is that something where it puts more pressure on you to be a boxer since your brother was a champion, or does that take some of the pressure off?
Well, I didn't even picture myself being a boxer. I didn't plan on being a boxer. I just kind of landed here. But I don't feel any pressure either. I don't feel like I need to, live up to what people expect of me, or because my brother was a world champion, I needed to also do this. And no, I just do it. It's my career. I like what I do. Whatever I accomplish and achieve is great. I'm not trying to impress anybody or live up to any expectations. It's just I'm doing my own career, my own life, and whatever I can accomplish will be great.
All right, now 2013, you won the WBO featherweight title against Orlando Salido. What was that night like for you to finally be recognized as a world champion?
To tell you the truth, it was just like any other normal night for me. It wasn't the greatest, victory experience or the most satisfying, victory in my career. It was just like another normal victory. I don't know if it was because to me it's, like I said, it wasn't a dream of mine to do this, and finally being here and accomplishing this, it wasn't like that with me. So to me, it was just a normal night. My family was very happy. My sisters, my nephews, little cousins, my dad, especially my dad and my brother, they were super happy. But to me, it was just like it's expected almost for me to do this. It was not a huge deal. And the same thing happened when I won the second title that year in November at 130 pounds, WBO super featherweight title. It was a good victory. I actually enjoyed that victory more because I was dropped in the second round, and I had to get up, come back, and I finished the fight in the 8th round. I knocked the guy out with a body shot. So that was a better fight. It was a little more competitive. The first fight against Salido, I just dominated easily. So it wasn't like a satisfaction like others expect. It was great to be recognized as a world champion, but I didn't feel any different. I felt actually better this last fight in January. I thought I'm in a much happier place winning this third world title.
Yeah, and you talk about that. A lot of that has to be just the Mikey Garcia promotions. You're not working for Top Rank. I know you had some problems with Top Rank. So it has to be more satisfying when you're kind of working for yourself.
It is more satisfying because now I'm in a better place, happier place. I'm happy with my career. I'm in charge. I dictate what I want to do, where I want to, go. I'm not having to follow any orders or any other plans that someone else has in store for me. I'm in control, and that's the way I actually, feel the best. I'm training better. I don't have any pressure from anybody. I'm not feeling, that they're nickel and diming me because you learn a lot. In the sport, being around for so many years, and I'm in control. I dictate everything, and there's nothing more I could ask for.
Yeah, because when you're working with a promoter, you never know if they're out for your best intentions or their own, and we all know that usually they're going to be out for their own anyways.
Well, they are. They are a business, and
yeah,
I heard from their own mouth. I heard from their own words, in person, that they're in it to make the most money available at all costs, that means, they're going to, pay you very little unfairly. It doesn't matter to them. They're there to make money.
All right. Playing in a contact sport with all the CTE stuff, all that going around, I heard you recently went to a summit for brain health. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that was at the Capitol. That was about 2 years ago, along with other MMA fighters and a few other boxers. We were speaking on the importance of healthy lifestyle, healthy, treatments, and just awareness. And if we can, in a way, help the younger fighters recognize and maybe prevent future long-term mental health and brain damage, we would be able to help them recognize those signs. So if there's any treatments or any tests, that we always do the MRIs, the CAT scans, and if they can detect any type of abnormality or anything that might suggest future brain damage, well, that's a great help for the younger kids. I mean, they can see that and detect that. If there's patterns that we can recognize, some of these fighters won't have that problem, because a lot of fighters end up having problems, long-term problems, from all the blows to the head. And we obviously don't want our kids or any young kid to go through that. So if we can, in a way, help, that would be, great for the younger crowd.
Yeah, and I think it would be great if there was like a national commission where they actually would do baseline testing like they do for like college football and high school football players, because we know if you're a lower level boxer, you don't have the money to pay for that testing.
Yeah, dude, see, that's the thing. The younger, smaller, lower level boxing, when you're up and coming, you're not making the money, and because you're not making that kind of money, you really don't have the funds to go in and do research on your own and go get all these exams and tests done, because it's very, very pricey. So if the commissions and athletic commissions and the promoters got involved and actually started sanctioning, these programs and projects like this, would be a big help.
All right. Now, I know you recently, your last couple fights, been with the PBC and Al Heyman. What's your opinion of the PBC?
Well, I'm not signed to anybody, but we do have a working relationship right now with Heyman, with Al Heyman, along with PBC and Showtime, who's been the network backing me up. So I like the way they handle their business. It's clear. It's in front of you. There's no hiding. They've been taking care of me pretty well. Right now, they have plans for me to fight this summer, and we want to get bigger fights and just grow in the sport. I like the way the company runs their business. I mean, like I said, it's every fighter that I speak to, that I've spoken with, that have fought or for PBC or that are in PBC promotion, everybody's happy. Everybody's satisfied. Everybody's having a great time. Everybody says the same thing. They change their lives. That they're making more money. That they're getting better fights. That they're getting the exposure that they feel they deserve. And I mean, that just speaks for itself. So I'm real happy with it.
All right, now you talked about future fights. I know Jorge Linares looked really good a couple weeks ago, beating Anthony Crolla and a rematch. You've got Vasil Lomachenko, Terrence Crawford. I mean, is there any preference there?
Well, with being at lightweight, I think the most attractive fight right now is the Linares fight. He's a world champion at lightweight. I'm world champion at lightweight. He just had a great victory, and I think between me and him, one of us is number one in the division. There's other champions also, but they haven't really achieved the level of success that Linares and I have achieved, and that's why I think it's the most attractive fight.
Yeah, to me it is too, because I think, especially looking at him, I mean, Linares seems like every fight he looks even better, even though he's getting up there in age a little bit. And I think that you two right now are the most established lightweights. I would love to see that fight up next, and then maybe one of the other guys can come up and fight you guys after that.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I want. I want to fight Linares to solidify and you know, in a way claim, you know, best in the division. Now, if he is unavailable right away and we might have to wait for that fight, you know, maybe later this year, I'm going to try to see if I can get one of the other champions before. I mean, we need to get in the ring. We need to stay active. So, I mean, I have options. You know, if another champion is available, we would like to take on that fight also.
Now, the 2 years you were off, do you think that maybe that has brought you back more refreshed and actually gives you an advantage now than if you had been fighting the entire time?
I think so. My brother also thinks the same. See, when I was fighting and when you're not in control like I am now, it was starting to get to the point where it was boring and I was getting tired and the whole routine was just being redundant, just over and over and over. And when things aren't going your way as you want things to go, it gets tiring and boring very fast. And had I been fighting these last few years like that, I think I'd be ready to retire right now. But being that I took the time off, that actually allowed me to go out and enjoy life a little bit more. And, you know, I got to do things that normally while you're in training, you know, I mean, you really don't get to go. I mean, you don't get to go to fights and enjoy, you know, the fights. You're there for a fight yourself, so you got to watch your diet. You got to watch, you know, your training. And so the time off actually allowed me to come back stronger, healthier, you know, re-energized, and I'm more motivated now than I was before.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up. I know you've got other things to do today, and I really appreciate you coming on. But the one thing I would like to ask about is the charity work that you do. I know I've seen some on social media that really impresses me, the way you give back to your community. You want to talk a little bit about that and some of the events you've went to recently?
Yeah, well, we're doing a lot right now with the Boys and Girls Clubs. We did different cities. We did Redlands. We did Rancho, Oxnard. We're doing Riverside today. We did Moreno Valley yesterday. And I've done these before also, and also the schools. I went back to my high school last week, and I seen some of my former teachers. And so, I mean, it's always nice. Like I said, I remember my brother doing it a little bit back in the day when I was a kid, and I remember having him and Vargas come down. So I see the kids all happy to see me. Some of them recognize me, and some of them have said that they've seen me fight, so they're super excited. And then they're holding the belts and taking pictures with the belt. And, you know, if any of that helps them and inspire them or you know, just teaches them that, you know, I was a Boys and Girls Club kid myself too. So, I mean, it's not something that's impossible to reach. Anybody can, you know, achieve success and accomplish their dreams. All you got to do is work hard, you know, and never give up. And, you know, of course, sometimes it's not going to be easy with obstacles and things you got to overcome. But anybody can do things. You know, you have all the power, you have the ability, you have the talent. You know, just make sure whatever it is that you want to do, you know, you put all your effort in. And so I just tell them that, and, you know, we take pictures with them, and they're very happy to be there. So I just do that, you know, as just my part, you know, trying to do well, and hopefully 10, 15, 20 years from now, I get one of these kids telling me that they remember me going to one of their Boys and Girls Club and, in a way, inspiring them. That would make my whole life worth it, you know?
Yeah, and the thing is, there's a lot of elite athletes that never make it to a high level because I think really 90% of everything is mental and believing what you do or what you can do. And I think that going back to a school like that or the school you're at and showing those kids that this is possible is a huge thing.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, you know. It's just showing them that it is possible. A lot of these kids sometimes, like you said, it's all mental, and sometimes feel like it's unreachable, like it's out of their reach, but it's not. I mean, it's there. You just have to work hard. I mean, nothing is given. You can't expect, to just wake up and be giving all this. You have to work for it. But that's actually the most rewarding because you earned it. And the feeling of satisfaction in that way, you can't compare that to anything else.
All right, Mikey, once again, it was great to have you on the show. We'd love to have you on again here in a few months, maybe before your next fight.
Definitely. Sounds great, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mikey.
Thank you.
All right, guys, make sure you check all of our shows out on iHeart, TuneIn, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Music. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. Make sure you check out me and my partner in crime, Jeremiah Pricers. We have the Inside Boxing Weekly show that will actually be posted probably tonight or in the morning. So if you're listening to the Mikey Garcia interview, you can check out Inside Boxing Weekly with me and Jeremiah probably right after you listen to that. We appreciate everybody that listens in, everybody that reads all the articles on thegruelingtruth.net. Actually, we had Christopher Benedict, one of our better boxing writers, who wrote an article on the 30th anniversary of Hagler and Leonard today. You want to check that out. Very good article. You can check out all of our past interviews with champions like Lamont Peterson, Rasheed Warren, their trainer Barry Hunter. We've had Carlos Palomino, Tim Witherspoon. Make sure you go check all those out at thegruelingtruth.net. So for Mikey Garcia, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.